My name is Jay Ruston. I'm a record producer from Canada. I've been living in Los Angeles for about 22 years. Started working in Ottawa, Ontario under a producer named Leslie Howe. So I mentored under him for about 7 years, and he relocated to Los Angeles in the late 90s and eventually built another studio here and asked me to come and run it. So I moved to LA and I immediately dove in headfirst, realizing that I know nothing and need to start over. So I started mentoring under producers like Peter Asher, Desmond Child, Nick Blagona, and really learning how to make records rather than just engineer and mix and record people. The actual production process, producing a vocalist, all those kind of things. And I also really focused on mixing, obsessing over people like Andy Wallace, Neil Avron, just like trying to be a great mixer on top of a great producer. One of the first people I met when I moved to Los Angeles was Jeff Friedl, the drummer we're using on this project.
He and I have known each other for the better part of 20 years now. I met him almost right from the get-go, right when I got off the boat from Arizona and moved out to LA, and we struck a friendship and started working with each other.
Jeff was pretty much the first person I thought of to come in and do this, not only because he's an incredible drummer, he has an insane collection of drums. So when Martin reached out to me about this project, I started thinking about the different drum sounds I'd want to capture. It was more or less just, let's get a big, thick, powerful drum sound in a great sounding room. I chose this room in particular because it was owned and designed by a drummer, so it sounds incredible and it's big. And I like big drum rooms because you can always make a large room sound smaller. You cannot make a small room sound bigger without it just sounding kind of fake. So that's why I chose this studio.
This room is inspiring to play in. Just playing beats in here, you could do it for hours and really get lost. So great to play in here, and not just play in here with one drum kit, but the little kid in me, the drum nerd in me, just has had quite the week being able to play all kinds of different drums that are inspiring on all kinds of different levels.
We set up the first kit and Mike Fasano was brought in as our drum tech. And he's one of those guys where I say, I need it to sound like this, and he makes it happen immediately.
Mike is regarded as one of the top-notch drum techs, not only in LA, but around the world. I consider myself to be a good tuner, but Mike is on a totally different level, and his speed is on a different level too. You can just take a drum and go bum, 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 and it's pitched like where you wanted it to be pitched, in tune. He's just has a really incredible innate ability to tune a drum very quickly and nicely.
Jeff has a very wide collection of drum kits, and he has a set of drums from the 80s. So we started with that kit. It's a birch kit.
There's nice low end, but with a lot of great focus. So there's something really magical about putting heads on them, finding a good range, and then they just speak beautifully. They just sing kind of right away. They're freak of nature drums, really.
Then we moved on to kit number 2, and I asked Mike for some specific tunings and whatnot, and we went for a bigger rack tom, and we used, from the same set of drums, we used a 26-inch kick drum. And that all sounded incredible pretty much right off the bat. After that, we brought out a chrome kit, which I had never recorded before, but it was part of Jeff's amazing collection.
They're a little bit more modern than the retro ones, so I think you can kind of utilize them in a modern way to have a vibrant sound, but you can also leave them nice and open, have a very cool air and room sound to them.
Kick drum had a little more attack. It was a little thicker in the low mid-range, so that was kind of cool because I obviously wanted all my kits to be different and unique, but still have the same power and same kind of giant room sound. The next kit we did was a classic maple from the 90s, and the reason this kit was brought in was when I saw Jeff playing with A Perfect Circle, I noticed his drums, and I always loved watching Jeff play, and just the sound of his kit through the PA system was incredible.
The classic maples are very modern and punchy. I've used them a lot. In the studio, I used them with A Perfect Circle for many years. So there's a lot of versatility there with that kit as well.
It reminded me of kind of a modern hard rock metal drum sound, and Mike and Jeff picked the sizes and tuned it up, and it immediately just sounded incredible. The final kit we got to was a green sparkle kit. I really wanted to capture that kick drum, but make it usable, because a lot of times those kind of kick drums are just booming and kind of messy. So we spent a fair amount of time moving the microphones so it got to a point where it just sounded incredible. And then the toms already with Mike's tuning sounded fantastic, so keeping the condenser vibe with all the toms. And then finding the right snare drum is always a challenge too. So we tried 2 or 3 different snare drums that matched the sound of that kit till we landed on 2 or 3 that we really liked. Cymbals was a huge concern for me for this project, and the thing is with cymbals, and especially when you're doing a vintage kit like that, a lot of times they would compress the whole drum kit with like a pair of Fairchilds or something, and you'd have this extremely long release, and you'd hit a cymbal, like you'd listen to a few Zeppelin songs and he hits a cymbal, it's like, it sounds like it lasts for 20 seconds. So to get that kind of sound, I had Jeff pull up a couple of his kind of brighter cymbals, and I feel like those match the Sparkle kit really well. Because a lot of the cymbals we used on the earlier kits were thicker, bigger, a little darker, which suited this room really well.
Yeah, a lot of dark stuff. The dark stuff I think really plays nice in this big open room. I think we definitely hit the mark on the cymbals as well.
One of the main reasons I chose this studio was the room sound. When a drummer plays in this room, they immediately say to me, wow, like I can feel my drums. I can feel them reacting to the air in the room. It just sounds amazing to them in the room, which to me immediately says it's gonna sound great coming into this console. Now, this is a Neve. There's plenty of Neves all over LA. They all sound fantastic. I would still record in this room if there was any other console sitting here, because the room sounds amazing. And the drummer's amazing, the drum tech's amazing. So the battle's already won at that point. Everything else is just, don't screw it up at that point, really. Yeah, I was unsure what it was gonna feel like to come in and get an amazing drum sound over and over again, but not record any songs. So every time Jeff got to go out there and actually play some grooves, it just felt really good to hear what it's going to sound like.
The ultimate drum nerd in me has really enjoyed it. The experience, the environment, the people has been incredible. And we all put the drums through their paces in a pretty serious way too. The first day we did one drum set. We spent like 14 hours on one drum kit to make it absolutely perfect. Get to know the room, pick the cymbals that were perfect and appropriate for the kit. The troubleshooting was so extensive and nerdy. I really enjoyed all of it, honestly.
100% my expectations have been exceeded. I tried very hard to make it just sound amazing from the beginning so that the end user won't really have to do a whole lot to it. I absolutely was blown away when I heard back what we did through the software, playing MIDI notes, playing our drum kits. absolutely blown away.
It's mind warping. It's mind warping to hear how good the tones are. I hope people will check these sounds out and utilize them, take advantage of all the hard work and effort that we put into this and curating the perfect sounds.
I'm super happy with the way it turned out. I'll be using it. I'm already thinking about all the different producers and friends that I'm going to be reaching out and just out of pure excitement saying like, guess what I did, you know? So I'm really looking forward to everybody actually finally getting to hear it.